Hey guys, so I have a couple more minutes and I wanted to talk to you guys about um, a VBAC or a vaginal delivery after a C-section. I had a C-section with my first, which if you've been like following my story or anything for a while, you probably know. And then I had a VBAC with my second pregnancy. So, it's very possible to have a vaginal delivery after a C-section. There are risks involved, and the reason that there are risks is because it is possible that when you are laboring um, and pushing really hard, that you can actually rip open. I hate even saying this. Where your C-section was, that can be really bad. So it can be dangerous. So a lot of doctors and hospitals don't encourage it or don't even allow it. I know with some they don't allow them at all. So it can be really scary when you're thinking about or talking about a VBAC. And even when I was talking to my doctors about it, I had to sign like this waiver and acknowledge that I knew all the risks and everything. And mine was everybody's situation is different, so I'll start by saying that you definitely need to talk to your doctors. If you're interested in doing a VBAC, you need to find a doctor or a hospital or a team of doctors that are on board with it and that will support you. So that is number one. Definitely find a good team of doctors. I personally drove almost 2 hours, even though I have a hospital about 5 minutes from my house, but I drove almost 2 hours to a bigger hospital that had a really, really good high-risk team of doctors. And I started with my care with them at about 30 weeks. Well, I went even before I got pregnant, so I was kind of on board with like talking to them. And my situation was also different because I had heart failure after my first pregnancy, and so it was like triple scary for us to do it. So we met with a lot of doctors beforehand, and we had a really, really good support system. So I kind of touched base with them before, and then met with them like a few times during the early parts of my pregnancy. And then when I hit about 30 weeks, I think it was 30 weeks exactly, I started driving weekly to 2 hours away to see them. We talked a lot about expectations. I started doing red raspberry leaf tea because it helps like strengthen your uterus and everything. So I started doing that. I did a lot of like stretching. I did a lot of things, all those things like to try to prepare. And I didn't dilate at all in my first pregnancy, like whatsoever. But I also was induced, and it was early. I was 3 weeks early. I was sick. There was a lot going on, but my body like literally would not dilate like whatsoever. I never even dilated like to a 1, I don't think. So yeah, so I didn't know if it was like the situation, or I didn't know. A text. I just wanted to make sure I'm waiting on a delivery, and I wanted to make sure that wasn't it. So I didn't know if my body just wasn't ever going to work, or if it was the situation from the first time that all those factors. So I had no idea what to expect with a VBAC whatsoever, and it was very, very scary, especially when you think about the heart failure side of things from the first time. So I actually had an echo, an ultrasound of my heart, like when I was pushing, but that's a completely different story. That's not related to this. But I will tell you guys that my VBAC was like the most amazing and healing experience that I could have asked for. If a vaginal delivery is something that is important to you, I would definitely suggest going doing some research and trying to find a team of doctors that will support you. So with my first, it was actually my plan to go completely natural. I didn't even want an epidural, which I'm not saying anything bad about an epidural. I'm just like letting you guys know, like my mindset. I didn't even want an epidural, but things were really out of my control. I was sick and my waters had broken, and we did everything, prior to, yeah. So I didn't have a choice the first time, and it ended up in the C-section, and then my son ended up passing away. So basically, like worst case scenario across the board. So with my second, it was important to me to try for Vbac, and I knew all the risks, but I really just needed to do it. I needed to at least try it for myself. I did not realize I was going to get teared up with this. Goodness me. So, anyways, it was something that was really, really important for me to try, and it ended up being amazing. Basically everything that went wrong the first time went right the second time, and my body worked, and I dilated. In fact, I dilated pretty fast. My waters broke on their own at about midnight, and I think by 9 o'clock the next morning, so 9 hours later, I was dilated to a 10, and it took hours of pushing. And you guys, pushing is so much harder than I thought it would be. I had no idea how to push, and yeah, you can push wrong. If you didn't know that, you can. And I was pushing all wrong for hours, but it was amazing, amazing, amazing experience. But yeah, basically, the number one piece of advice that I would give you guys, if you're considering a VBAC, is just find a team that will support you. You may have to drive a little bit out of the way. It may take some digging, but VBACs are definitely possible in a lot of situations. Not every situation, but a lot of situations. So talk to your doctors, do your research, and have faith in your body. And I could ramble on and on and on, but I'm not going to. So that was my experience with the VBAC. It was amazing. So amazing and so worth it. So if y'all have any questions about that, just send me a message.